There's a kind of rejection that hurts deeper than failure. It is not when people reject your idea, it is when they reject you. Your face, your voice, your strange way of thinking. The part of you that does not fit neatly into the world. Jack Ma knew that feeling very well. Before Alibaba, before the speeches, before the billions, before the world called him a visionary, he was just an English teacher in Hangzhou, China. Thin, awkward, unusual. Not the kind of man people looked at and immediately thought, this person will change the world. And again, the world looked at Jack Ma and said no. He applied to Harvard. Rejected. Not once, not twice, 10 times. Most of us would stop after one rejection. Some of us might try twice. But 10? 10 rejections can make you question everything. Your intelligence, your future, your worth. Then he applied to become a police officer. Rejected again. They said he was not suitable. And then came the rejection everyone remembers. KFC opened in his city. 24 people applied. 23 were hired. Jack Ma was the only one rejected. And be honest, if that were you or me, we might have gone home and never talked about that day again. We might have smiled in front of people and said, "It's okay." But inside, something would break. Because rejection hurts. But being the only one rejected, that feels personal. It feels like the world pointing directly at you and saying, "Not you." Most people would have heard that message clearly. Maybe I am not good enough. Maybe the world is right. Maybe I should become smaller. But Jack Ma did something strange. He did not become smaller. He became more certain. Because rejection can do two things to a person. It can convince you that you are worthless, or it can force you to build a place where people like you finally belong. In 1995, Jack Ma traveled to Seattle. There, he touched the internet for the first time. He searched for the word beer. Results came from many countries, but not China. No Chinese companies, no Chinese voice, no Chinese presence. And in that small missing space, Jack Ma saw something most people could not see. He saw the future. Not because he was the smartest man in the room, but because he knew what it felt like to be invisible. He understood the pain of being left out. And now he was looking at a technology where an entire country seemed left out. So he tried. He started a company called China Pages. It failed. He tried again. It struggled. Investors did not understand him. Banks did not trust him. People laughed at the size of his dreams. They looked at this former English teacher and wondered why he was talking like the future belonged to him. And let's be real. If you and I kept walking into rooms with our dream, and every room gave us silence, most of us would start changing the dream. Make it smaller, safer, less embarrassing. Something people could understand. But Jack Ma kept carrying the same impossible idea into rooms that did not believe in him. That is one of the hidden gifts of rejection. After the world says no to you enough times, shame starts losing its power. You stop asking for permission to begin. In 1999, Jack Ma gathered 18 people in his small apartment in Hangzhou. No fancy office, no powerful investors, no guarantee that any of it would work. Just tired faces, cheap food, and one impossible belief. China's small businesses deserved a place online. That place became Alibaba. For 2 years, there was almost no revenue. No easy success, no instant miracle. Jack traveled, pitched, explained, and begged people to believe. And again, many said no. Silicon Valley said no. Banks said no. Investors said no. The world still did not understand what he was building. Imagine that for a second. You finally stop applying for other people's dreams. You finally build your own. And even then, the world still rejects you. That is the moment where many people quit. Not because they are lazy, but because they are tired. Tired of explaining. Tired of hoping. Tired of being the only person in the room who can see what this could become. But Alibaba kept going. Slowly, small manufacturers began listing products. Small buyers began finding them. People who had been invisible to the global market finally had a door. And maybe that is why Jack Ma understood them so well. Because he had spent his whole life being treated like an outsider. He knew what it felt like when powerful people ignore you. He knew what it felt like when the mainstream has no room for your voice. So Alibaba was not just a business. It was a door for the people who had been standing outside. Then came eBay, a giant, a global machine. When eBay entered China, many people thought Alibaba would be crushed. How could a small Chinese company fight a company that already ruled online auctions around the world? But Jack Ma understood something eBay did not. He understood Chinese sellers. He understood trust. He understood that business is not only about technology, it is about people. So Alibaba built Taobao. Free listings, direct communication, a marketplace that felt human. And the giant began to lose. The company that looked too small to matter became too local, too fast, and too connected to defeat. The outsider understood the outsiders better than anyone else. That became his advantage. In 2014, Alibaba went public in one of the largest IPOs the world had ever seen. Jack Ma, the man rejected by Harvard, rejected by the police, rejected by KFC, rejected by investors, stood at the center of a business empire. But the real lesson is not that Jack Ma became rich. Money is not the soul of this story. The real lesson is that rejection did not destroy him. It shaped him. Every no carved something into him. Every closed door taught him how painful it feels to be left outside. And one day, instead of waiting for someone to open a door, he built one big enough for millions of people to walk through. That is why his story matters. Not because every rejected person becomes a billionaire. Most do not. But because rejection has a dangerous power. It can make ordinary people bury extraordinary parts of themselves. It can make you hide the strange part, the bold part, the part that sees something nobody else sees yet. Jack Ma did not win because he looked perfect. He did not win because everyone believed in him. He did not win because the path was clear. He won because he kept moving when rejection tried to convince him to disappear. And maybe that is what rejection really tests. Not whether you are talented, not whether you are lucky, but whether you can keep believing in the version of yourself that nobody else can see yet. Because sometimes the world rejects you not because you are wrong, but because you are early. Early looks strange. Early sounds foolish. Early gets laughed at. Early gets ignored. Until one day, the world catches up and calls you a genius. So if you are collecting rejection letters right now, if your messages are being ignored, If your dream looks ridiculous to the people around you, remember this. The same world that said Jack Ma was not good enough to work at KFC later could not afford to ignore him. A no is painful, but it is not the end. Sometimes, it is just the world admitting it does not understand you yet. So let me ask you, what rejection in your life actually pushed you forward? Tell me in the comments. And if you are building something that nobody understands yet, welcome to Tales by Sue. Here, we tell the stories of people who were told no until the world had no choice but to say yes.